Rhea 14. Um, Geology and the other practice. Last time I spoke about the practice of picking potatoes in the fields. That's how you start higher studies in communism. But then we moved on to more serious things, supposedly. Because to begin with, we could go to as far north as Baia Mare, about 600 kilometers from Bucharest, for our first practice, where we walked the earth to get rocks and minerals to study. Uh, that thing disappeared throughout the years because of shortages, money. Eventually, the stupid communist leaders, Ceausescu most of all, an illiterate man with an IQ of, I don't know, 80, very shrewd and helped very much by the system, because the system is rotten. No matter what they say, the system is good, but it just was just Stalin. That's stupid nonsense. Let me tell you this, it was one of the many jokes. In fact, I will need to make a note to have a note with jokes, or communist jokes. Who is a communist, who is not a communist when young, when 20, or has no heart. Sounds interesting, you have a heart, you want to share with that. But who's still a communist when 30, or I'm not sure, not young anymore, has no brains. So, or as Churchill put it, capitalism is the unequal sharing of benefits or profits, and communism is the equal sharing of misery. These were not the words, but nevertheless, he gets the idea right. Since I'm on this path, let me say a third, and we conclude this explanation through jokes of what was going on. So they say that this guy finds a bottle with a genie, a famous joke with a genie. Opens the bottle, the genie is free, you've set me free, you have 3 wishes. Well, first I want to be rich. He's rich. Okay, now second I want to live in the West, let's say America. He's in America. You only have 1/3 and last wish. Okay, my third last wish is I don't want to work a day in my life again. And he was back in Romania again. Oh well, we can put that with another communist country, because here it was we pretend to work, they pretend to pay us. It was sometimes a forced attitude, like in the case of geology, because that was my initial point, and I'm coming back to it now. First few years were fine, enjoyable, interesting, attractive, going in nature, studying rocks, formation of the earth, and so on. But then it became apparent that this is not what will happen, because Ceausescu came with the idea of an agrarian revolution, revoluția agrară, something, which meant the emphasis, the top priority was to work the land, and so everything else has to stop. Geologists were not allowed, geophysicists were not allowed in the fields anymore to study, to measure, to do anything. So they were on a forced unemployment or something. Paid somewhat, but not as working. That's a detail I will not go into now, but it changed my life, because at one point I decided, seeing that in those travels in the country, that engineers, those in the profession I would be pretty soon graduating, were in a tough spot, cornered basically by the stupid communist plan. So at one point, even if I started very well, prizes, mathematics were wonderful, physics, and enjoying it, I saw that there's no future in it, so I tried another path. about that more later. To finish with this agrarian revolution, it was stupid, not just because it prevented others from doing their own job, geophysicists and others, as I said, but they didn't really work the land well. I'll give it just one case. They were uh, terrible. In order to report the 5-year plan as finished and over the before the term and with more quantity, false figures, uh, they would fly the sky with a helicopter to show him the crops. See, General Secretary, all the crops have been harvested. We're before the plan and everything. But what happened was they just pulled the plows in and they buried everything into the ground so that from the sky it would look like the operation was finished, when in fact they sacrificed everything. They buried the food, the grains and whatever into the ground. They were so, and people were hungry and queuing for bread in shops. I'm telling you, communism is as bad as the Nazis, even if for some reason it's tolerated. Well, you can't tell China, well, you're like the Nazis, and so we will not deal with you anymore. But that's one of the paradoxes and bad things of the present. I mean to say, you wouldn't deal with a Nazi, whatever, Vietnam, but still you deal with a communist China. Granted, it's a communist with some capitalist touches, but my point is capitalism is, communism is really bad. Capitalism, at least, as Churchill said, divides some benefits. Okay.